I got new Star Trek toys!
It's morphin' time!
Hello, this is Soundout here, and welcome to another Star Trek Playmates Toys video. This one is different. I recently wrapped up my 6-part retrospective on the original Playmates Toys line, and while that was such a great, endearing effort of energy and time and output, and there's been so much positive response to it, it was all started because Playmates Toys announced they were going to be returning to Star Trek toys. And guess what? We have some today. So this is pretty exciting. I finished the retrospective literally just in time. While online retailers such as Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth, and Target were saying September, Amazon just suddenly got some in. And I do mean some. I wasn't able to get like the whole wave of figures, but I found out about these being up and said, heck it, we're going into it. We're just going to order them and see what happens. So I actually don't even know if I got the right items. Because, you know, it's Amazon, you never know. We're going to find out together. Because if it's not the right items, my entire video schedule for the week is totally messed up. Now, if this is the right items, we're going to be looking at these in kind of a first look sort of style today. So I'm going to be opening these up and getting first in-hand impressions on them. And then later on, when I have the entire wave, I'm going to do a more expansive, more proper review. I also forgot to bring a knife in my excitement, so we're just going to tear through this like I've been augmented. All right, so let's see here. This is exciting. We have brand new Playmates Toy Star Trek. We've been looking at the prototypes. I got so many videos talking about the prototypes, talking about, you know, just the way everything looks. It's exciting to get some in hand. That's not the toys. Okay. So, yeah, here they are. All right, so looks like everything's good. Here's data. Again, we'll look at these closer. The bubble, yeah, no, the size is actually surprising. They look so much smaller in photos. They actually look a bit bigger. We, of course, will do size comparisons. This is going to be kind of the video to really answer a lot of those baseline questions. But, yeah, there he is in that, you know, TNG sort of retro style card. Again, I have carded samples we can compare to. Let's get the other retro guy out here. We got Kirk. So the nice, wow, he is, woo-wee, glue already not good. I gotta keep that on barely so I can shoot stuff for videos. I do live in a desert climate, so this may not happen to everybody, but that's, all right. And then lastly, which I thought these would be the nicest looking packaging, and they are. It's the Discovery figures, which, look at this. Look, I like how how it interlocks like that. That's really cool. And in fact, I was worried about this part being kind of flexible, but the card backs are actually pretty thick on these. Like, I don't know if you can tell, but they're not super flimsy. But yeah, no, we were looking at prototypes. We've been looking at details. I was saying that the accessories were probably final. Looks like I was right on that. And yeah, no, there's all kinds of stuff to look at with these. So we're gonna get these cracked open. We're gonna look at them. We're gonna see how they are, and figure out if this return to Star Trek Playmates toys is exciting as we hoped it would be. And I'm pretty excited that we got something brand new to look at, especially after looking at the 1998 figures going, why? But anyways, we're gonna take a look at these, and yeah, we're just gonna open them up on camera. Kirk's already almost there. So here they all are. Like I said, we're going to do kind of first impressions. Like, this is not going to be heavily produced. I'm probably not even going to edit around this too much. This is mostly, I want to open these up and get my like initial thoughts on camera. So pricing wise, I know Entertainment Earth had them at $15.99 and they recently lowered them to $14.99. And I believe Big Bad Toy Store had them at $16.99. They were on Amazon, and I believe they're also on Target for $12.99. Which sounds like $12.99 is your mass retail price. So if you're looking online and you're seeing some other retailers, they might have them more expensive, but you may be able to get more of a guarantee of getting them because I think maybe they're going as case assortments. I don't know exactly because Amazon didn't exactly have Spock, Khan, Riker, or Picard. So I don't know how it's all working out. But if you were hesitant at the $14.99 and $16.99 price, know that these are likely going to be $12.99 in stores. So I'm going to be going into this at a $12.99 mindset. So of course I'm going to save these two for later because they are completely new. So we're going to look at these. I was going to look at Data first because TNG started the old Playmates line, but Kirk's already off the card. So yeah, we're just going to start with Kirk. All right, so looking at the packaging, we're going to pretend like this is still attached. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this was intentional, but classic 90s packaging style. I hope this isn't common. I hope this is just because this thing was traveling throughout a desert. But yeah, hopefully that's not common when it hits store shelves. That's not good anymore. Anyways, so here is the packaging. It is based on, let's just pull the comparison out here. It's based on the classic Star Trek movie series packaging, but unlike Masters of the Universe Origins, where that's a one-to-one recreation size and scale-wise of the original card backs, this is a lot smaller, probably to save on material costs for packaging. So, you know, it's got that same feel, and this is the case with the TNG card back. And you look on the back too. So this has got like the purple block. This has got a purple block. This doesn't say coming soon Star Trek Voyager because, you know, Voyager's been out. This added a QR code, and it is updated. That being said, they use like the same art of the Enterprise, that sort of thing. And then we got a Q code. It's like a QR code, but they put, you know, Q there. So Q code for parents only. That's a legal text thing. What we're gonna do is see where this takes us, because I'm just gonna pull up the QR code here. Let's see what we get. It's the Playmates Toys Star Trek website, which we looked at in a video. So if you want to see my full tour of this website, go check that out, because that was kind of fun. This is going to load super slow on mobile, so we're not going to do that. But, so, yeah, he's already open. Let's take a look at him. I haven't done any size comparisons myself yet. We're going to do that in a moment. We're going to come in here and clip this guy out of here because he does have some plastic ties. It's weird. I haven't done a video like this in a minute where I'm just cracking open a figure for the first time from a new line. All right, so we got that. Let's get the base. I'll talk about that in a moment. We'll grab this. We'll grab the captain's log. God, that's painfully generic. Anyways, and we'll grab the risk communicator. Okay, so I've watched Wrath of Khan a lot. I don't remember Kirk yelling into his wrist the word Khan. This is a redo of the motion picture era risk communicator accessory. This is a redo of the phaser that came with Saavik. This is a redo of the captain's log, I think, that came with motion picture Kirk. This is a base that all of them come with, and it's kind of a bummer. I'm glad they have stands, but I'm kind of bummed out that they're not specific to the series. That's something I really enjoyed about the old line. And yeah, it is painfully generic. It looks a lot like the 2009 figures bases, minus the division logos, so they're even more standard. All right, let's look at Mr. Kirk here. So, boom, here he is. All right, so we were talking about face sculpts before. I think they turned out better in person than they did in pictures online, especially the initial pictures. I think it's actually not too bad. He probably looks a little younger than he should. It's a little soft, but it's a $13 figure. But, you know, not too bad. Paint detail-wise, I mean, paint's not too bad on these, all things considered. There is a little bit lacking, you know, around the border of the badge. You know, as you can see, some red has still stayed, like the gold didn't cover all of it. But the pips up here, not too bad. The collar's not too bad. The trim, pretty good. The belt, also not bad. And then, yeah, we've got the rank insignias. That's the words. And then there's this. I noticed this in some of the recent promotional images. Yeah, all your copyright text is sculpted into the back of the figure, which includes the Playmates headquarters address. Cool. Yeah. Not a super big fan of that, but I will give them credit for painting the back of the figure. That is something new. They even got the stripe on the leg, which I don't think, the original one didn't have. Looking at the originals sitting off to the side. So they got that detail in. And yeah, it looks pretty good. Okay, so let's talk articulation, because I think that was another big question was, hey, are these going to be super articulated? And I pretty much determined no, but all right, we got head. It feels like it's on a ball joint. So it does move. Shoulders, they move out. That's a huge positive. So out 360, elbows bend, they rotate. Anything in there? Oh, the wrists do turn. That's a surprise. I thought for sure those would be locked. All right. Nothing in the waist, but, you know, there is hips. So the hips look like they're ball jointed. So ball jointed hips. Cool, cool. Knees bend, rotation at the knee. And then we actually got some ankle joint. So it actually turns and it moves up and down. It doesn't go left and right. But there is ankle articulation. That's pretty good. So how's stability? Because I haven't set him down yet. Let's for science, we'll pull all the way out. All right, he's standing. How good is he? Okay, that's about what I expected. Not too bad for a modern action figure. There is a little bit, as you can see, wiggle, but once you stand him, he's good to go. Like that's not going anywhere. So that's pretty good. Let's see. Let's look at his stand. So the stand's not necessarily required, which is a positive. How does he look on the stand though? Because okay, you can kind of square foot him like that, or you could. How do we want to do this? Oh gosh, because the peg holes are in the front of the feet. Maybe we want to do it like this. Maybe we want to peg them on like that. Yeah. Now we got Kirk. Kirk doing Kirk things. Yeah. Okay. Now, here was the other big point of contention. I thought when they first showed the original prototypes, and I was right, they didn't look like they could hold accessories. Now he can hold the phaser. So they did improve that. I think a lot of the sculpting has just gotten better. The initial prototypes were very early, and they probably should have shown us some later ones. Because, yeah, I mean, there's that. And, yeah, if you're going for, like, action-y Kirk, boom. Action-y, I don't know why I put him in the James Bond pose, but the point is you can kind of get him into an action pose, which is good. Also looks like this skirt is a softer material, so the hips won't get restricted. Pretty good. Pretty good, not gonna lie. All right, so the wrist communicator doesn't make any sense, but let's just, it does fit. And can you hold the captain's log? He can hold the generic gray piece of plastic. All right, so this shouldn't be a huge compliment that, yes, figure can hold all accessories, except it is, because a lot of the old Playmates figures couldn't. There was a bunch of them that just had weirdly sculpted hands and stuff. So you can totally hold them. I think I'm going to either keep them with the captain's log or the phaser. We're going to keep them with the phaser for the moment. It's a little more dynamic and action figure-y. But yeah, I think it's time. So, moment of truth. I've got Generations Kirk coming in. We're going to find out if these scale with the old figures or not. Because they've been saying 5 inches. The old one said 4.5. It is close. It is so very close. Wow, okay. So first of all, the paint detail on the badge is a little better on the Generations one. But this is a much better proportioned figure. I think the legs don't look too long. The arms don't look too long. He's definitely way more articulated than Mr. Barely Articulated because they had to rush the movie out. They're close in size. You can see the new one, if I just try to do this, if this helps at all, the new one is just a little bit taller. Not a whole ½ inch, just a little bit. Are these going to blend in is a good question. I brought in Savick. You know what? New Kirk and Savick don't look bad together. Okay, we got something here. All right. Let's see how these mix in when we get to some other figures. But how does it size with some modern action figure lines? All right, so here is Master of the Universe Origins, Sunman. Okay, so he's not going to, this is supposed to be 5, this is supposed to be 5.5. These Master of the Universe figures just look gigantic in comparison. 3 3/4 inch Vintage Collection Star Wars. Here's the Mandalorian. Yeah, they're not going to be in the same scale. And then 6-inch scale Marvel Legends. Again, not going to be in the same scale. But in terms of Kirk to Kirk and the old line, not too bad. Okie dokie, here's Data. So much like with Kirk, the packaging is basically kind of a resized of the original style packaging. Here's a Series 1 figure just to really go Series 1 to Series 1. They added the J-hook. Looking at the back, same deal. You've got that same Enterprise art. You've got the same blue part, the yellow bio card. Unfortunately, you don't get like a whole book's worth of text on the new ones. This one says it includes Type 2 hand phaser. Check. Diagnostic testing unit with monitor. Check. Tricorder with holster. There's a tricorder. Android access panel. I do not see one. Also, the bubbles are thicker than I thought they'd be. There's so much empty space back there. Now, Data's not falling off of his card back. I wouldn't call it 100% glue because I can see some spots, but we're going to cut this thing open with a knife because I want to keep the card back nice. Feels pretty good. It's not super flimsy. This feels a little thicker on the old ones. Do I have a loose? I have a loose card back because I haven't cleaned up from the retrospective. This is probably about the same, honestly. This might have like 1 or 2 more layers. Okay. Data. Let's get that. Oh boy, there's tape. Oh god. When I was opening figures for the retrospective, anything that had tape over an accessory was always a nightmare because then it was all sticky because it'd been 20 years. So, hey, at least they're keeping the nostalgia. Let's get that out of here, and let's get this out of here. I'll do comparisons of the accessories for the main video. I don't want to dig out bags of parts at the moment. Because, yeah, they're very similar. But here's Data. So, looking at his head, it's better than when we looked at it first. It's definitely improved. I don't think it's an exact likeness. I still think it's probably one of the weakest ones of Wave 1. But in terms of like, hey, that's Data, totally works. Also, his hands are tiny. Maybe it's because the old figures had really gigantic hands. His hands look incredibly small. What the heck? Okay. Yeah, Kirk's got like normal hands. And then Data's over here gotten like tiny hands. Okay, so badge, printed pretty good. He's got 3 pips. So one of those black. He's not a commander. One of those should be black. It does look like it's supposed to be black, but it did get gold. Okay, so he's just got a piece of sweet corn on there. He didn't rank up. All right, yeah, no Android access panel, so the packaging is lying by using old text again. But that being said, not too bad. I'll check Riker. When we get Riker and we do the video, I'll compare to see if they reuse the torso, because that pip should be black. All right, so we got this. His head doesn't turn as well as Kirk's. It kind of goes up at an angle. That's kind of strange. All right, shoulders, 360. It's nice. Elbows, rotation, wrist turn, hips, knee. That didn't move. That knee is stuck. It will not bend. There we go. It's bending, turning. Ankle, forward, back, side to or left, right, but no side to side. So the same articulation as Kirk. Pretty cool. He stands pretty good. I do like the proportions on these, outside of his tiny hands. That actually, he doesn't look too bad. Okay, phaser. So it's interesting. They kept the little handles on the accessories, even though they could have molded it correctly this time. But look at it. His hands are so tiny, he couldn't hold it anyways. So maybe he does need... Why is his hand so small? It's like the digital sculpt accidentally had like an extra decimal put in its number. So he can hold it with the handle. Classic lightsaber beamy looking phaser. Here's this tricorder looking here. Let's, yeah, because he apparently has to hold it by the handles. Okay, this looks ridiculous. The head sculpt doesn't look that bad. Yeah, the rest of it, I think so far this is my least favorite, because he just doesn't... See, because the old handles, you should just hold it around his hands. But now he has to hold it by the handles in order to get anything, because his hands are so small. All right, so is this thing, this is the old repair yourself tool, but there's no opening panels, so there's no point to that. He ain't great. All right, where's original Data? Let's look for size, because original Data was in the pre-post feet days. Oh boy, a little bit higher of a size difference. All right, let's get everybody in neutral stances best we can. Okay, so new Data, little bit taller than his older counterpart than Kirk, but that's because his older counterpart's on slanted feet. But you see, his hands were gigantic here, and these aren't the same accessories because, all right, you just stay down. These can't necessarily, are these the same molds? I can't say they're the same molds because it doesn't fit over his hand as well. It does suck that we lost waist swivels because that was a thing the originals had, but in turn we got hips that move out and shoulders that move out. And hey, if we ever get like bridge accessories or play sets, they can sit normal. Like if you wanted him to sit, he'd have to sit like this, which will always look dumb. Like if we get a bridge play set, he's gonna sit so much better. That's a huge benefit. I can take away waist swivels for that. It's just his hands look so tiny. So tiny. Okay, so conclusion on Data. Head sculpt could be better. Hands are tiny, but in general, you know what? I'm not too hating it. I'm not too hating it. I think he's just lacking in some of the feature department. But in terms of the rest of the body mold, it's great. I actually like it. I look forward to getting the other two. On to Discovery. Okie dokie, so here is Science Officer Michael Burnham. What's interesting about this is we have brand new packaging. We got Burnham's portrait there. She's in the kind of this half circular tube. I dig it. Kind of reminds me of the Transporter series figures. Up here we get the Discovery, and if I'm not mistaken, this is the Discovery A because it does have the separated floating nacelles. So they were thinking about Season 4 when they did these, at least the packaging, because these are still the Season 1 and 2 designs, not Season 3 because her hair's still short. Yeah, so it does have the first style Discovery uniform. Back of the packaging, Q code, big and bold. This is the same on both Burnham and Saru. Star Trek universe. In 2063, Earth made its first contact with an alien species, launching the planet and its inhabitants onto an interstellar stage. In the next century, United Earth established a space exploration and defense service, Starfleet, and co-founded the United Federation of Planets, a benevolent organization of hundreds of worlds. The chronicles of Starfleet are collectively known as the Star Trek universe. Pretty cool. Now, fun part. So when I was saying about like the bubbles on the Discovery figures seem a lot stronger. And then also you can see that they added plastic on the bottom, so it loops around. So that way, even if it does come loose, it could be put back pretty easily. It won't lose the entire bubble. Nothing to compare to except, I don't know, the Mego Burnham with her giant head. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing really to comment on here. I just thought it would be fun to put them side by side. So we got this. Let's get Burnham out of here. All right. Boom. Okay, so she's out. She actually has 3 accessories. And what's cool is that this is all new stuff for her, minus the stand. Like, this isn't sourced from an old toy from 30 years ago. All right, so here she is, looking a little lock-kneed on standby, but that's what articulation's for. Let's talk about the head. So, yeah, she looks good. I think her eyes looked like they were bulging out of her head a little bit on the prototype. This is definitely more natural. And actually, I gotta say, this is a pretty good Sonequa Martin Green likeness. I think this is pretty solid. Especially from a couple angles here. Like that right there, that looks like her a lot. Maybe not just dead on, but a slight angle, perfect stuff. This is actually pretty good. I'm impressed. I'm really impressed. You know, doing characters they've never done before was something I was kind of curious to see how they'd handle. Looking at the Discovery uniform, this is an incredibly intricate design. Oops. The way they designed it was that the inner color was the division color, right? So everybody's got navy, and then, you know, Burnham's in science, so her uniform has got silver. And you can see they didn't quite mold like a bunch of tiny deltas in, but this is actually a sculpted sort of rib design to kind of emulate the tiny deltas being in the uniform, which is pretty good. I think that's pretty awesome. And they even got the striping down the leg, and then down to the, oh, that's why she looked lock-kneed. Her boot was backwards. There we go. So then down to this, if you're looking at the sculpted detail on Burnham here, compared to, you know, I know it's because of the modern uniform design is a little bit more intricate, but you can kind of see she's got all this sculpted detail here. I'm glad there's no random blue pouches where these pockets were. That was a problem on the prototype. But you see the silver stripe. You got the molded details on the boots. They even got the Delta clasps molded in. Feet on the bottom, pretty nondescript. But looking at it, it's incredibly detailed. It's an incredibly detailed sculpt, and I have to give them credit for that. That is pretty impressive overall. And then, like, yeah, looking at the arms. Oh, and the comm badge, or not the comm badge, the badge. Sorry, I forgot for a moment. We are not, we're not looking at Season 3 Burnham. There's no comm badge. But look at the badge. It's got her actual pips molded in, which is amazing because there's like prop replicas of the Discovery badges that don't have the pips molded in, because that was kind of a weird thing Discovery did. I know not everybody likes that, but you can see that is definitely a Sciences badge with the pips for Commander, because she was Commander. That's pretty amazing. There's the copyright text on the back. Sort of blends in with the darker color. I'm actually pretty impressed with the sculpt on this one. More so than Kirk and Data. And I don't know if that's just because we don't have anything previous to compare to, and this is like the first solid plastic like Burnham action figure. But I gotta say, they did a fantastic job with this. She looks great. All right, so articulation. It's ball jointed head, just like before. The ball joint should help with customizing. Anyways, 360 shoulders, elbows bend. That's some excess plastic that totally was left behind in the joint. There we go. Elbows bend, rotate, wrists up, wrist rotate. Hips move out, hips move forward, knees bend, knees rotate, ankles forward back, left right, no side to side. Hey, that means, unlike a lot of action figure lines, including some of the old Playmates figures, female character, same articulation as the male characters. Heck yes, love it. All right, same stand as the others. Here's her tricorder. So the tricorder doesn't have the little like wand part. Looks like it's deployed because that would be fitted in the back. Can she hold it? Yes, she can. Awesome. Can she hold the phaser? Because we'll look at the phaser. I like the Discovery phaser. It's very TOS-y, but plussed up pretty good. Can she hold it? Yes, she can. I just knocked the tricorder out of her hand, but she was holding it until I touched it. So she can hold the phaser, which is awesome. Yeah, she can't really hold it with two hands like she would. I've seen there's a lot of Discovery shots where she's kind of holding it sort of like a pistol, but hey, you know, options are there. I will pick up the tricorder after this segment. And then here is Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, a book. Apologies, trying to look at my fingers this close, but there we go. That is her Alice in Wonderland book. Very key to her character in a lot of ways. And can she hold it, though? So close. Now, that hand was not going to work. Let's try the other one because it's molded slightly different. And I apologize for the camera continuing to go out of focus. That seems to always happen with smaller things. Can she hold it? So close. I mean, you can have her hold it with both hands, and that works pretty good. So you can have her hold it. It does work. Okay, so conclusively, great action figure. Probably my favorite of them so far. I gotta say, the thing I did want was newer characters in a new Star Trek line, not just let's repeat everybody from the past. But the question is, does she fit in with the old line? Yeah, so let's see. So if let's take her off her base because we want to make sure everybody's standing, normal. Let's see. Let's put her with TOS Spock, her good old brother Spock. You know what? That works. That actually works. I don't have a complaint with that. She doesn't look too bad with Saavik either. All right, we will see how this works out as time goes on, but hey, the new characters don't look too out of place with the old figures. All right, so here we got Saru, last one I'll be looking at in this video. Otherwise, it's the same on the back, so pretty much the only thing new is this nice picture of Saru, which is on the cover of a book at one point. Let's get him out of here. Oh, he's got one of his arms is tied down. I have no idea why. Why does he get a third tie down? All right, he's free. Accessories-wise, the phaser is the same as Burnham's. Stand is the same. Tricorder is the same. But then he comes with this knife, which is important to his character. I'm just going to get this out of the way first. We'll have him hold it in a moment. This knife is very essential to a storyline in Season 2, specifically, I believe. I forget the name of it exactly. I'd have to look it up, but it's really cool they included it. But here is Mr. Saru. So let's look at him. There we go. All right, so head-wise, much better than the initial pictures, but he looks good. I think they nailed it. If you're talking, in terms of trying to do this at a $13 figure budget, pretty good. Once again, just like with Burnham, looking straight on, kind of odd. Slight angle, pretty good. I think that's pretty good. Unfortunately, looks like they didn't mold in the pips on his badge. Gold again, sculpted again, moves all the way down the leg. Very nice details. They really did. I wonder if that's why we only got, oh hey, they painted the class. So they painted the class gold. I wonder if that is the reason why we only got 2 Discovery characters instead of 3. It's just because like the amount of detail going into these sculpts to make this happen. That would make some sense to me. Like budgeting wise, they're like, yeah, we can only afford 2 Discovery figures for one wave because they're more detailed. In terms of proportions, he is super lanky. Really long arms, really long legs. There's the hooves. They sort of built up the area around the hooves a little bit just so he can stand. Can he stand on his own, though? That's a legit question. Can we get him to stand without the stand? And for science, we will zoom out. Now you can see how far I've been zooming in just to do the video. Okay. I'm going to give this a good try. Standing on his own. No, okay. But can he stand with the stand? That is the true question, because that's why we have a stand. Yeah, he can totally stand with the stand. That totally works. All right, cool. Science complete. Let's go back to Mr. Saru for articulation, just to make sure. Pretty sure he's got the same as the others. Yep, nice ball-jointed head. Shoulders move out, 360. Elbows that bend. Little excess plastic, but elbows that bend, rotate. Wrists that swivel. Hips that move out. Hips that move forward. Hips that move pretty far back, actually. That's pretty good. Once again, even though Saru doesn't sit very much, he could sit at a station or a captain's chair. Playmates make us play sets. Knees bend, rotate, ankles forward back, and his turn left and right, which sort of gives him a side to side, just because of the nature of that. Pretty good. All right, accessories. Doing all the checks here. Holds the phaser? Check. Holds the tricorder? Check. Boom. Awesome. Holds the knife? Also check. Hooray! Okay, yeah, Data's just the worst of the wave. So in terms of Saru, if I'm just giving like my initial thoughts, I don't know if any of this will change with time. I like it. I like it a lot. I really think, you know, in terms of figures, I mean, Saru here is great. There is, you know, there's been a lot of discussions about like, oh, have action figures gotten too expensive? For $13, I'm just gonna start wrapping up. For $13, this ain't bad. I made Saru look tiny. Let me get him sort of a neutral standing. You know, for $13 a piece, I think these are great. Is this gonna win over anybody that's not already a Star Trek fan? Like our casual toy collectors picking these up? Probably not, because it's not in the popular 6-inch scale. Hey, look at that though. He is tall enough to be taller than Burnham. Are these going to get kind of casual pickups from people? Maybe the TNG figures. You're going to get kind of... I think you got to be a Star Trek fan to really enjoy them. But if you're looking for like, you know, fairly lower expensive Star Trek figures, I think these fit the bill pretty good. So now having these four side by side, I can say I like them. I actually really do. And I think more so than I was expecting. They are not in the same style as the vintage figures. They are definitely going for a more sort of realistic, more natural stance approach, which I definitely appreciate after a lot of the pre-posing of the old line. And I think that the head sculpts are pretty good. I think Data's probably the weakest of these four. Saru and Burnham are terrific. These are great. I think Kirk's pretty good. I'm definitely loving the Discovery figures the most, and I don't think it's just because they don't have anything to compare to. I just think the head sculpts are great. I think the uniform details is great. And I love the accessories. I actually like that they can hold their accessories. I love the added, you know, articulation. And I really hope we get some play sets, because I think everybody can sit. I didn't do a sit check with Kirk. Can Kirk sit? Yeah, Kirk can sit. That skirt helps. Give us play sets. I will buy them. I will buy a play set for like every series. You know, just do the bridge of each of them and give us the entire bridge crew, and I will be very happy. So I hope this continues, but we'll see when I get the other four figures and the Enterprise. I will get that full series review, and we can kind of look at things in a, you know, wave basis and look at all the figures, get some nicer close-ups and less messy than me just playing around. I'm going to wrap it here. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, the notification bell to keep up with future uploads, including more Star Trek in the future, and check out the retrospective if you hadn't had the chance. Leave a comment down below and tell me anything that you have any questions on, or anything you observe about these figures that I may have missed, or if you just want to have a casual chat about them, let me know. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So check out HeroClub at hero-club.com for Star Trek news and more. I'm awesome graphic designer on Twitter at DarkClaw643. And until next time, this is Soundout saying, live long and prosper.